This training is for ministry leaders. And before we start, I'd like to know how many, if we have any local preachers or supernumeraries in our midst.
Yes, we do. We have a couple on the line, local preachers and supernumeraries.
We do have local preachers and supernumeraries.
That's correct.
WHMNOS leaders, are there any on the line?
Yes, they are.
Okay. The reason I'm calling these out because these ministries have, their forms are just a little bit different. Trustees and stewards.
Yes, we have several trustees and several stewards.
Okay. Okay, now let's get started.
We also have preacher stewards as well. I don't know if they're of a special form or not.
There's no special form for preacher steward.
Okay, great.
Okay. Okay. This morning, we are going to go through the new quarterly conference system. And by the time we finished, we should be able to log in to the system, access, complete, and submit all your reports, and then, if need be, edit and print the reports.
Sister Terry, before you get started, just want to let everybody know that I am taping this session. So definitely ask questions and participate. And then I will send it out to the pastor so that he can send it to you for review. So he or she can send it to you for review so that you can have it for future reference as well.
Okay, thank you. Now, this training is for the ministry leaders, class leaders, local preachers, and exhorters. And so the login will be set up as your personal email address and a temporary password. The temporary password will be set up by either your pastor or your quarterly conference secretary and be provided to you. So please reach out to them for your temporary password. This, I say temporary because you're not forced to change it. It's just the password that you'll be given to access the system for the first time. If you choose to keep it, that's fine. You don't have to change it. And this quarterly conference year, of course, we always start with the first quarterly conference. So that's the one that you will be dealing with right now. Keep in mind that all quarterly conference reports, the year, which you will see in a minute, for this first session should be put in as the year 2022. And the reason being that our conference year ends in 2022. And that's where all the annual versions of all the reports will be compiled by the General Secretary Auditor's Office. So the date will always have to be 2022. If you enter it in 2021, which is the system default right now, it will not get passed through for this conference year. To access the system, they recommend that you use Google, but it works with any browser. And the sign in is, you don't have to put the www in front unless your browser requires it. But it's amezionGSA.com. Once you enter that, you'll be brought to the landing page for the General Secretary Auditor's site. You'll look for the reporting portal and click on that. Once you click on that, you're actually in the conference forms reportal page. The center button is the only one you need to deal with. The new quarterly conference reporting system version 2 Once you click on that, you're going to be sent to your sign-in page. This is where you will enter your username and the password that you will be given. And please remember that the password is case sensitive. If by chance you do forget your password, you can click on forgot your password. But please remember your password, because sometimes that causes a little bit of a problem. Once you get into the system, you'll be brought to a page that looks similar to this. By the time you log into your system, all of the forms will already be assigned to you. So you will only see the forms that you are responsible for completing. If a ministry that you are responsible to report on is not listed, please go back to your quarterly conference secretary or your pastor or whoever set up the forms and inform them that you're missing one or two. Once you get to this page, as you can see up in the left side, the year reads 2021. And like I said, that is the default. So what you're going to always do, you're going to enter 2022. You're going to click on change period. Once you click on change period, give it a minute and let it do its thing. And you'll notice that the year has changed to 2022, and the period is now reading Q1, which is the quarter that we're in, 2022. At this point, you can start updating your forms. And to do so, you will click the blue button that says complete response. Now with complete response, you will be brought directly into the form. Excuse me. You'll be brought directly into the form. This is an example of the ministry and auxiliary form, which most people will be using. As you can see, it has you have to enter your ministry name, the year that the month, day, and year that the ministry was affected for this conference year. And if you notice on the right, there's a little black asterisk. Whenever you see an asterisk on a field, that is a required field. So you're gonna have to enter the president, and I believe it's the vice president. Towards the bottom of the screen, you'll also see fields for membership. They want to know how many adults are in your ministry, young adults and the youth. Don't worry about the total membership field, that automatically calculates. If you don't have any youth or children in your, I'm sorry, it says adults, youth, and children. If you don't have any children in there, or if it's a ministry of one, you would enter the one. Any other numeric field, if it doesn't apply, enter 0. If it's a required field, you must enter something. So you can enter 0 in those fields. Also below that would be the financial section. And again, you will see the asterisks for beginning balance, total receipts, and distributions. A quick note on the beginning balance field, that once you enter that field, it cannot be changed. So if you have a ministry that doesn't track your own, if you don't track your own funds, put 0 in all of those fields. But if you do track your own funds and you need the beginning balance, make sure your beginning balance is correct, because once it's entered, right now, there was no way to edit that field. And at the very bottom of that screen, there's the activity section, there's an asterisk, therefore you must enter something. If you've had no activities, just put in none, NA does not apply, or the reason why, you can put in the reason why there hasn't been any activities. At the bottom, you'll see the submit button. No forms will be saved unless you click on that button. So even if you haven't completed, you haven't gotten all the information together, because some people, they don't have all the activities written out, but they still want to save what they have entered. They will put something in that field, hit submit, because they know they can always go back and fill it in. Once you submit, you'll be brought back to your form's response overview page, and you'll notice that the complete response button has changed to a view response. It's at this point that you will be able to click on that, you will be brought back into your form, and you will be able to print the form if you're satisfied with it, or you will be able to edit. So any field on that form that has the edit button, you're allowed to edit. And you can edit these forms until the pastor submits their form. So if you know that your pastor has not submitted their form, you can go in here and make any changes that you need to. And if you make a change, you'll notice that instead of saying edit, you're going to see something like this. Click on the blue. Looks like a little floppy disk. If those who remember the floppy disk, click on that, and that is the way you save your changes. Once the form is in edit mode, there is no longer a submit button. Each field has its own submit button, and that's this little blue button. If you enter something in that field and you decide that you really don't want to keep that, hit the little white button, and it'll bring you right back to what the field looked like before. Like I said, you can print just by clicking on the print button. Now, on the right-hand side of that screen, you're going to see something that says delete response. Do not, on any circumstances, hit that button. If you delete this form, there is no way that you can go back to it. It is gone. And in that case, you would have to go back to your quarterly conference secretary or the pastor, and they would have to submit a ticket to the general secretary auditor's office to try to retrieve it. And so we don't want to do that. So that red box that says delete response, pretend it's not even there. Don't go anywhere near it. It will save you a lot of headaches. Now, on all the pages, you'll see this setup. The button in the middle is the sign out button. So once you finish doing everything, you're satisfied that you've completed your reports, you just click that sign out button. It'll come up with a dialog box and ask you, are you really sure you want to do this? Click yes, and it'll bring you right out of the system. And that is basically the system. It's similar to all the forms are similar to the written form, the paper forms. So if you have a paper form and you want to fill out your paper form for it first and then transfer the data to the system, that is great. Right now, we're told that they want everybody to transition to this system. In fact, we're going to have to transition to the online system. So now,
Terry, I have a question.
Sure.
The quarterly periods are
Yes.
set up from calendar year. Shouldn't they not be set up in terms of conference year from May until, as opposed to January until?
Yes, we did. We actually set it when we met on Thursday night. We set up the quarterly conference years, and it is according to conference year.
Okay, so you have that on the slide, I believe, somewhere, right?
Not on this slide because it's already been set up.
Right.
So this is just for the ministry leaders, and it doesn't show anywhere at the ministry level. It shows at the administrative level, which are the pastors and quarterly conference secretaries.
Right. What I'm saying is,
Hey, Mac, this might
Yes.
answer your question. the brief that we did last Thursday, you're gonna get a video copy of that. And it
That's what
shows on that brief how to set up, what we went through to set up the quarterly conference dates and whatnot for you as a pastor.
That's what
And
I
it-
wanted. Thank you.
Yes. And I also sent out the slides.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And if you need help with, just give me a call up until Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm available till through Tuesday.
All right. Thank you.
Mr.
So-
Curry, I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, finish what you're saying first.
No, go ahead.
My question is where it says complete response, will that take me into the next screen or is that complete response? Do I have to click on all of those like I'm looking at it
No,
now?
you click on each one.
Each one? Okay.
Each one. You click
And
on complete response, like this one has the Barrack Memorial Christian Education. Once you click on that, it's going to bring you to that particular form.
Okay. Okay.
Once you submit, it'll bring you back to the form response review overview screen.
Okay.
And then you will go into your next form.
How do you go into your next form? Is there some
You
kind
just
of
click on complete response.
each time you do
row,
it? Mhm.
for each form you need, you just click complete response on that row.
I understand.
Carrie?
I'm kind of, I don't, maybe I'm not answering the question right. Okay, when I click on complete response, that's going to bring me into what I need to do within my report. So
Yes.
what my question is, how do I get to the next page? Will it have another thing where it says complete response and I go to the next page?
Next page of the report.
Yeah.
Oh, the report just scrolls. You just scroll through the report.
Okay, that's my question.
Page
Thank you.
scroll.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Someone else have a question?
Yes, good morning.
Good
This is
morning.
Sister Jamie, how are you?
Doing well. How?
Good. I'm on the, I'm logged in and I'm on the page that says AMZ reporting, form response overview, and then the plus sign, AME Zion form response overview. Under the year, I've entered 2022, and it
Mhm.
says Q1,
Yes.
and, page on left. That's Q1, change period. Oh, it's there. Never mind. They all
Okay.
changed to 2022. Thank you.
You're
That was
very
my
welcome.
issue.
Okay. I'm getting ready to go in and actually do a demonstration of it. One thing I did, I neglected to inform everyone, this system is available can be accessed on any device that has internet access. So some people have done it on their phones, tabs, desktop, or laptop. If you have a device that has internet access, you'll be able to access this system.
I have a quick question, please, before you go on. This is Martha Field.
Sure.
Are we going to be doing one quarter at a time or are we doing two the first time?
You'll be doing one quarter at a time.
Okay, is there a due date?
Well,
At this time?
right now we're doing catch up. The due date has passed on the first quarter, so it has to
Okay.
be in as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Before we sign out, I will give you the quarter dates. You should be able to get them from your quarterly conference secretary or your pastor, but I will display what the new quarter dates are. Unlike the past, where each church had their individual quarter, when the presiding elder came and met, we're having common quarters now. So across the district, we have one set of quarters. Everybody reports on this through the system for the same quarter. The first quarter is May 23rd through August 1st. That's what we settled on Thursday night. So if you want to write it down,
Just can you repeat that, May 20?
May 23rd through August 1st.
Okay.
The second quarter
Excuse me,
starts.
Carrie?
Yes,
This is Clarice. Will you be going over the exhorters reports?
yes. Once we get into the
Okay.
demo,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. The second quarter is August 2nd through November 1st. The
Mhm.
third quarter would be November 2nd through February 1st. And the
Mhm.
fourth quarter is February 2nd through May 8th.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And you'll notice there's a gap between, there will be a gap because that's the time that we are in annual conference. So we're
Can you
closed
please repeat the first quarter? I apologize, I missed
May
it.
23rd through August 1st.
I thought you said that was the second quarter.
Oh, you said that's the first quarter, May 23rd through
Oh,
August 1st.
May, thank you.
Mhm. Give me a minute and I will put
Thank
it
you
in
so
the
much.
chat.
Got it, got it.
Okay, let
Sister
me see.
Holland, we're not putting that in the form. We're not typing it. That's just for us to know which one we're covering, correct?
That's just for you. That's
Just
informational.
for us to know. Okay.
Yes, that's for notes that, so when you're preparing all your information, you know the time period that you're reporting on.
Mhm.
Okay.
So anything that we've recorded thus far from January through April, that's no longer going to be applicable. We're going to.
Yeah, well, January through April, that was that was the reporting year of 2021.
Oh, thank you. Oh, so we got to start over. Okay, then. Thank you.
Yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you. All right,
Yes.
glad I'm here.
Okay, I'll be with you in a minute. I'm just typing in these quarters in the chat. Okay, let's move over to the demo. I'm a very visual person, so okay. To log in the system, you would type in Amy Zion GSA. You notice I've been in here a lot. Okay, I gotta minimize. Oh. Oh, there you are. Sorry. Oh. It won't switch. Okay. Which screen do you see?
We see the Office of General Secretary Auditors, Amy Zion.
Okay. Let me do something here. I got to come out of what what you're seeing and what I'm seeing are two different things.
Come out of sharing and reshare.
This worked so well the other night. Ah, I know what I gotta do. Okay. Do you see the Office of?
Now we're on your Zoom share now. You might want to in sharing. Now we see the
Okay.
Office of General Secretary.
Okay, I have too many windows open.
Yep.
All right, in the office, as you can see, I typed in Amy Zion GSA.com, got to the landing page. You click on Reporting Portal, New Quarterly Conference Reporting System version 2. And you enter your username and your password. And once you go in there, it will bring you to your page. And these are it will only show you the reports that you are responsible for. You change your date to 2022. Click change period. And you'll notice that it's switched over. Now for this purpose, and because I'm actually in Barrick's reporting portal, I'm gonna keep my date to 2021. But always change yours to 2022. That's so that I don't mess up somebody else's report. Okay. Ministries and auxiliaries. This is the report, the entire report for the ministries and auxiliaries. The members section, you can enter all your members if you choose to. If you do not choose to enter your members, you don't have to. It's not forcing you to. However, if you do choose to enter them and you need more rows, just click on the add row button. And you can add as many rows as you want. There is no limitation. If you add too many rows or you just want to delete somebody, you can also hit the little trash can, that delete button. Under that, what the section that we discussed before is the member section. You can enter whatever numbers you're in there. And if you notice the total membership will change, will calculate. Beginning balance, total receipts, and distributions. Ending balance. Ooh, why is it doing that? Huh, it's not letting me backspace. There you go. If you put in, whatever you put into these fields also calculates and becomes your ending balance. So if you notice, it did a subtraction. I only added $1, but I gave out $2. So it's showing that we're in the minus field. So you enter all your activities. If you hit the submit button, there are a lot of things that are left blank. It will tell you what fields are required. So you have to satisfy all of that in order to submit this form or any form. Since we have class leaders, let me go back. Okay, this one's already done. The class leaders report is basically the same as the class leaders. This one has already been completed. Same as the paper report. You would give the required fields on this one would be the class leader and the assistant class leader. All of these number of members in the class, all of these are required fields. Okay. Let me come out. I need to go into another sign-in to show the exhorters. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, silence.
I do. I was trying to unmute. Sorry about that. Is there a finance report?
Finance report. There is no finance report. This system defaults to 22 reports. If you need a specific finance report, that would have to be set up as a ministry or auxiliary by the pastor or the quality conference secretary.
Okay, I'll check with them then. Thank you.
Yeah. The way this system is set up, they made an assumption that all finances will be handled by the stewards and the trustees. So those are the only two reports that actually
Okay.
deal with the church finances.
Okay, there's a storage report. Okay,
There's a stewards report and there's a trustee report.
okay, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. You asked the exhorters report. Interesting. So interesting. Oh, I know why. We don't have an exhorter. At least we didn't at the time.
Excuse me, Terry, so that the exhorter's report is just generated for that specific exhorter? So when I go
Yes.
on, I'll have my report and they'll tell me everything I need to do?
Yes. Give me a second. And I will add an exhorter's report. And let's see what happens. I am currently in administrative mode. So this is the exhorter's report. Number of sermons preached, activities. So most of the things on the exhorter's report are required. They want to know the studies you are pursuing, studies completed. So if you're an exhorter or a local preacher, the form has to be assigned to you prior to you going into this system. Any other reports do you want to see?
Supernumeraries. And also I have a question. We've always done it, one report for the 4 quarters. We would combine all of them. Will we now be doing it each quarter? Or will
Yes.
we have to do it each quarter now?
Each quarter.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's changed, okay. Oh, there it is. I knew we had this local preachers report. This is the local preachers report. And under select value for local preacher, you can do local preacher, supernumerary, superannuated, or traveling minister. So you have to select what type, actually what level you are at that particular time. So if you're a supernumerary, make sure you select supernumerary. And then make sure you enter your name and then fill out all the required fields and submit. Any other reports? Class leaders. Class leaders reports are should be set up by each class leader. So if you're a class leader and you go into the system, your particular form will be assigned to you. If you're a leader of leaders, you should have 2 forms assigned to you, one for class leader,
since you are the class leader for all the class leaders, and also another one for the leader of leaders. The leader of leaders report must be completed, but it's just basic information. There's no detail to it other than they want to know your activities, they want to know the leader of leaders' name and the activity. So that if you're a leader, you have 2 reports to complete: your individual class report and the leader of leaders report.
Excuse me, Terry, I noticed that you have a lay council report. Is that something new?
No, it's not. It must be new. I've never seen it reported like that before, but yes, they do have a lay council report. So they actually want to know all what the membership is. So you can have to break down your membership by whether they're regular, life, or 4-year members.
Can you show the Stewart report,
Sure.
please? Thank you.
Mhm. Now, with the stewards and trustees, please be real careful. You have to work together on this because you don't want to overstate your funds. This is the Stewart report. So you have the tithes, your offering, your ministry of kindness. Now, your ministry of kindness, you don't want to overstate that because I believe there's a ministry of kindness report, if I remember right. I have to go back and check. Because on some of these reports, especially those that deal directly with the finances, the information is shared. So if you enter it in one, it shows up in the other. So the ministries have to get together to make sure you're not reporting the same numbers twice. And from what I understand, the Ministry of Kindness, since it's not a required field, the Ministry of Kindness and the trustee board fields, that information comes from another report, their individual reports. So, and this section is not required. However, if you have contributions coming in from elsewhere, you can enter it here. They also added a little line for online contributions. They say it's informational only, but it's not included in any totals. I think they just want to know how much of the contributions that are received by the churches are being received online. But for the most part, all of the major categories are required. And
I'm not sure I understand what that asking field is. Like when
which
you,
one?
if you go back up, so it's saying annual conference askings received. If you're a church reporting out, you're reporting what you pay out, right? But what's that?
Annual conference asking received. These forms are general. There are some churches that receive funds for certain categories. If your church is actually set up where their membership targets some of their funds for just to cover annual conference askings, which was
Okay.
You know what we did at Barrick? Good morning.
Good morning.
I just put in that what we paid out during the checkup meeting, because we don't particularly have everybody just pay. You know, we have our general claims, but I just put out what we paid out that quarter. So what we paid out at the last checkup meeting, that was what I had as received for annual conference and then paid out. So that made it easier to do it that way than trying to figure out how much people gave directly towards it, because you got to pay it out anyway. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so then you did the same thing for presiding elders asking and Episcopal?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So that would be a calculation of beforehand to just pull those little categories out to make sure everything balances out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
What's the due date after the quarter ends to have the report submitted by, please?
The reports are supposed to be submitted, well, first quarter is supposed to be submitted on August 1st. However, you can get it in as soon as possible so that we can catch up.
Doesn't the first quarter end August 1st?
Yes,
And you're gonna have it, and you're gonna submit it by the same day that it's ending? I don't understand that.
we actually didn't set a submit date.
Oh, that's what okay, thank you.
We actually did not submit a submit date. We'll have to go back to the elder and coordinate this with him
Perfect, thank you.
for the actual submit date.
Very good, thank you.
Mhm. So let's keep in mind that all of these forms have to be completed before the pastor can actually do their form. Because once the pastor does their form and submits it, it goes directly to the elder. So we will no longer be handed in paper to the elder. He gets it electronically, and then he passes it on electronically. So it will be up to him to set the submit dates, because he knows how long it's going to take him to do his individual review. So this is the Stewart report. Let me see now, there's other expenditures. Yeah, the only field check you can add, like I said before, was other contributions. You can add that in, but yes, and also other expenditures. If you have expenditures other than the ones that are listed and you need to add rows, again, you can add the row, or you can delete a row, or you can just leave it blank, because it's not required. Okay, you fill out your activities, hit submit, and it moves over into the complete section. Trustees?
Terry,
Yes,
could you please share the trustees report?
I'll just go into trustees.
Reading your mind.
Can't do that, okay. Okay, give me a second. I have to move over to 2022.
She has to go to 2022 because Dr. Miller deleted her 2021 trustee report.
I'm sorry.
See, I wasn't gonna say that, Dr. Miller, I wasn't gonna throw you underneath the bus on this one. But this is a perfect, let me go back and show you what happened. Well, you saw what happened. For 2021, because that form was deleted, it's no longer there. We can't do anything with it. It's just like a placeholder at this point. So let me switch these back over to 2022. I'm trying to think of the reports that are slightly different. Okay, trustee report. I'm also going to show WHO and M. Yeah. Here's the trustee report. Now, Dr. Miller, you were saying that there were some certain things on here that we have to pay attention to?
Yes, so especially when, so the number of these, so right now, I'm sorry, right now it's expanded out, but when they actually, so see where, yeah, there's a good one where you have the 3 items there. So they have to really pay attention. So when, especially when they go into second quarter, because this is all gonna come up, but on this first, when you're doing it, you're going to have to make sure you find these fields and add on. But if you're not, when I went in there to review it, I missed a couple of them. So when I went back, I was like, oh my, I missed that line. So make sure you pay attention to those blue things like that. And it is very detailed. So as you see here in property records, if you, all your property, you're gonna have to know where the records are located. So for us, like Hackensack, you got to know the book number and page. So that's included on your deeds, your trust. It may be in your church inventory. So you're going to have to find that information. And also in your insurance, you're going to have to know for each property in detail for everything you for every building you have. So right here, you see they have the church building, then they have the parsonage or parsonages, they say, but then you're going to have to go and add another one if you have more than one parsonage. If you don't, but if you have other properties, you're gonna have to know the value for each one. And it's gonna ask you also about appraisals. If you had appraisals, which we're supposed to have done, or all of that information, but you're gonna have to break out every single one of them, know the value, know what the coverage is for everyone. So if you see here, the public liability and workers' compensation, I didn't know what replacement value and actual value, so I just left those blank. We just left those blank. And then any additional properties, and if you're getting income, there's a lot of detail. So you're gonna, the trustee or the group, or the trustees should come together hopefully and have all the paperwork so that be able to itemize. There's a lot of detail on here. And then for the finances, what we did, because we have a central treasury, what she put on here is from the steward, she found out how much went through the things that the trustee board pays on, like utilities or mortgages, all of that, anything that the insurance that the trustees are accountable for, or improvements, whatever total that it came from the steward board, we subtracted it from the steward board amount, put it on here as the amount collected by the trustee board and the amount going out. So we have the exact same. However, there are some items that you're going to have to come up and make sure it zeroes out. So there's pieces in there you're going to have to separate the amounts out to come up to that total amount. And I don't know why we have a minus 2,000. I'll have to go check that and see if we didn't balance out over there. So, but it should have zeroed out. So because it's going to populate into the steward board report. And so it'll come out to the total. So you got to make sure whatever amount you put that the trustee board paid, that amount is not included on the steward board report, because then it's gonna double that amount. So I'm sure it looks like we may not have saved something, so it came out to minus 2,000. So it should have came out to 0. So we must have missed something in there. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Miller, when you plug in those amounts, does this work like Excel where it does its calculations?
Pretty much, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Miller mentioned appraisals. If I remember right, appraisal is a required field.
That's correct. It is. It is. And it won't let you go if you don't fill it in. And a number of those, even insurance things, a couple of things in there. It's several of them that if you don't fill, it will not let you do anything. So you have to have all that information.
Question, Dr. Miller. When we talk about church property, it can be improved and unimproved properties? Because we
Yes.
have lots at Clinton Memorial.
Yes, yes, you have to have the improved and unimproved. So if you just have some lots, you're going to itemize every single one. You have to show every piece of property that the church, and that's for your safety. So you do want to do that, especially as an AME Zion church in accordance with the discipline. So you want to itemize every single one. If it's covered on your insurance, and most insurance covers the replacement value of anything that's improved on it. So you're going to just list the land down on the bottom, and on the if it's listed on your insurance, it may not have any insurance because there's nothing replaced for land. But you do, yeah, you'll see there'll be a place where it's going to ask you for every single piece of property you own and what the value is. And so make sure you're crossing those. When you do that, make sure you look at your insurance, because it'll ask you what the value is on your insurance. And it's going to ask you what the value is when you list the property as well. So make sure they are the same when you have that actual value, that they're the same on insurance and in the listing of your property. And that includes the
Thank
land.
Okay, are there any other questions about the trustee report? The main suggestion of the trustee report, go into the report first to see what's there before you start doing any entries. Okay. So this is the
Right.
trustee.
And Terry, I was going to say, and also make sure, and your pastor, or you and your pastor may review it together, because you can print it out before the pastor submits. So you all can review it together. And what did you just say, Jimmy?
Once you do it once, you don't have to do all that again.
Right. So your second report, after you put all this information on the first report, right, Terry, you don't have to do it for the second report again, right?
No, let me bring up this. Let me go in here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to change it to Q2.
What's the best way to print this form, please, when you get a chance?
It's difficult. You can, the only time the print button appears is once the form is actually completed. However, you can do a screen print. It won't come out formatted like it is, you would see it on the screen, but all the fields would be there.
And the pastor
Thank
can
you.
go back in and make corrections if there's corrections to be made. So that's why I said, even if you submit, make sure you go over it with the pastor, because then if any corrections need to be made, the pastor can edit it before he or she submits it to the conference.
I'm bringing up the second quarter of the trustee report, and you will notice everything has carried over except for the finances, of course. There's our minus 2,000. Oh, building replacement didn't carry over.
Oh, you know why? Because depreciation, it considers depreciation. So you're just gonna have to go back and just put the numbers back in. Yeah, so it could change with depreciation or church or insurance coverage. So yeah, that's probably why that didn't carry over.
Mhm. But the basic information is still there. And the improvement section, even the improvement section carried over. If these improvements no longer apply, you can just delete the rows. And the same thing with activities. You can clear that out and re-enter. But this is the second quarter. So the first quarter is the most difficult one to do because it's brand new. But the second quarter, the basics are already there. So the only thing you'll have to do is fill in the blanks. Okay, any other, WHOM. I'm just going over forms that are, I'm going over forms that are different. The ministry, if it's labeled, if your ministry is labeled ministry or an auxiliary, the forms are all the same. But there are some forms that are slightly different. If you're the parent body president of WHM and OMS, you have 2 forms to complete. The WHOMS form, which is basically a placeholder, and also parent body form. Now, the parent body form has kind of the same thing that the paper form had: number of meetings held, number of members, and it just has the financials and activities. And you can list all the members. Same thing with the buds, Ys, life members, and the YAMs. All those forms are specialized. Christian education. I'm not taking this personally, but the Christian education only has 1 form. And everything gets entered on that 1 form. There is no form, specific form, for each one of the ministries, each one of the departments in Christian education. If your pastor or quarterly conference secretary chooses to, they can enter those forms as ministry/auxiliaries. If they choose not to, everything gets rolled up into the Christian education form. And in that case, what you can do is you can enter the members, each one of the officers for the departments under the members, and just list their name and their title. That's a free form. You can list their name and their title if you want them to be included in your quarterly conference form. Which other form did I? Yes.
I have a question on the ministry and auxiliary. When you click on selected value, I wanted to see what are all the ministries and auxiliaries that are entered in, because I'm wanting to see if district prayer coordinator is in there.
It's not. You have that district prayer coordinator will have to be added. We do have this is actually district prayer coordinator would not be included at the local church level.
Okay, true, that's true. Now, what about for Department of Evangelism?
That's a department. That's a ministry, or that's a ministry.
Right, so that would that be under select value? Would that show that in the ministries? Do you have that there?
We don't have a department. It would be set up under ministry auxiliary. Just like, let me show you prayer coordinator, because we have a prayer coordinator.
Right.
So what we did is we went in there and actually created a form specifically that said ministry and auxiliary prayer coordinator, and then assigned that form to our prayer coordinator.
That would be for the local prayer coordinator. Okay.
Yes, there is no district prayer coordinator at this level.
Okay, show me the one for the evangelism. Like, I'm over the evangelism, and
it will be the same. All the ministry and auxiliary forms are exactly the same. There is no different.
okay, so where do you change? What I'm
No,
asking,
you
Is
can't
this-
change it. You can't enter a specific form.
no, that's not what I'm saying. When you had clicked on select value, it showed you the different things, and I wanted to know, will this show that? To name,
Select value.
you know what I'm talking about? Where?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Terry, show her Varick Memorial Evangelism form.
We don't have one.
What about the prayer coordinator form?
I just showed the prayer coordinator form.
Show me that one.
How
No, but
your church has to create it.
no, maybe I'm not explaining it right. Oh, excuse me.
So yeah, Reverend Scott, on that, on for St. Thomas, for example, I or Cindy would have to create the form for the prayer coordinator and or the
Oh, I see what you mean.
evangelism form. So we have to create that form in order for you to see it. But it's the exact same as any other organizational form.
I just realized what she had saw when I actually created that one form, the exhorter form. Trying to see what else is different. Ministry of Kindness. The Ministry of Kindness. Yes. Question?
Yes, Ms. Holland, do you have anything there, Florida Caribbean Missions?
We don't have it at Varick, but it's the exact same form as any other ministry and auxiliary.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What I'm showing here are the forms that are different. This is the Ministry of Kindness form. So we have anybody that's open to Ministry of Kindness. This is the form that you will complete. And it doesn't have the coordinator for Ministry of Kindness name on here. It's just general information about funds. This is purely a financial report. And keep in mind that the numbers that you enter here, as far as the numbers that you enter here will transfer over to the Steward Board report. So it's this system requires a lot of coordination between the ministries that have financial responsibilities for the church. Ministry of Kindness, stewards, trustees. Those three forms are linked very closely. So they have to work together to make sure their numbers are not duplicated. Okay. Because we do not want to overstate our financial strength. Okay, any other forms do you want to see? Or I haven't shown. Do we have any church school superintendents?
Yes.
Okay. Church school, I know, oh, that's right, you're church school superintendent. This is a church school superintendent's form. It's just basically it's the financial side, and also it gives the number of students. I'm not sure what lesson helps is, and the activities. Okay. Anything else? I think all the specialized reports have been displayed. Anybody have any questions?
This is Martha. I have one other quick question.
Sure.
In regard to the transferring back and forth from the stewards or trustees, is there anything that if you put it on the stewards report gets transferred to the trustees, or is it the opposite?
It go,
Because I know you said you have to be
I
careful.
think it goes, but it goes, I'm trying to remember if it goes both ways.
Because I feel like if it's the only, it does go both ways.
I believe it goes both ways. But I can't speak, I cannot speak confidently about that because those two reports are reports that I did not personally review. Mainly
Okay.
because I don't know those two reports.
Okay.
I would recommend that, that you're doing them in tandem, but I would not submit the Stewart report. The Stewart report would be the last one I would
That's-
submit before going to the pastor. So the trustee board report should be filled out. The Ministry of Kindness should be filled out before they go. Any reports with money should be done before it goes to Stewart, because those things send into the Stewart board report. So Stewart board report should be last submitted, let me say that, but I would do them in tandem at like kind of at the same time.
That's
so
what
you
I
know
was
you're not
thinking.
over. Yeah, so that you can make sure. What I did is I sat down with the trustee board chair and Stewart board chair, and we delineated what amounts, what things would be covered on trustee board report, what things from our financial records, so that they would know. And then I reviewed it after they both completed theirs. So, and then even though they submitted, they were able to print, but any corrections, I was able to make the corrections. So the pastor can make corrections if there's something not jiving.
Okay. So
Okay.
this is the conclusion I was coming to, and I want to make sure I was thinking it correctly.
Right.
Okay.
So Stewart board before the pastor, so trustee before Stewart.
Thank you.
Okay. There's two other reports I wanted to show. This is the stewardess report. That is a specialized report. And the other one is deaconess. Where's your deaconess? There you go. And the deaconess report. And again, it's counts, it's numbers, basically the same as the paper reports. Okay, those are all the reports. Any other questions? Concerns?
Yes, I have a concern about the missionaries. You said that the missionary president have to have us 2 forms to fill in, and all the rest behind there have to have 2 forms also?
No, only the missionary president has 2 forms. You have the
Okay.
WHOMS form, which is kind of like the cover letter.
Okay,
And then there's the parent body form, which gives the details.
okay, thank you,
Everybody else only has 1.
thanks.
Okay.
Terry, once we submit these forms, it goes directly to the elder?
No, it goes directly to the pastor.
Okay,
The forms are sitting there. Once you complete your form, the forms will sit there, and you can go in and edit them until the pastor submits their report. Once the pastor submits their report, the reports are locked out. Whatever change, you can't make any changes after that, because it's at that point that it goes directly to the presiding elder.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Hey, thank you, Terry, for the training. Just as a reminder, I know a lot of people are not computer savvy and might feel a little uncomfortable about filling in the forms for organizations. Just remember that even though you're the president or you're the leader, you might have somebody in your organization that's a little bit more comfortable filling out the forms. You can if you have all the information, you could write that information down and hand it to that person in your organization. Say, hey, here's the, the form for the information for my form. Can you put this in? Or have somebody in your organization designated as the form filler for the quarterly conference. So that's one option that you might have. The only thing that I would ask is at least in my opinion, just don't hand 50 forms to the quarterly conference secretary. That just ain't gonna work. You're gonna overload the quarterly conference secretary and nothing is gonna get done. So you gotta take the accountability upon yourself to make sure that your organization's forms get filled out. Thank you. Any other questions or concern as we wrap up this training? Hearing none, Terry, I just want to thank you for taking the time to go through for this training. Excellent training once again today, as it was on Thursday. You now have permission to go on vacation after you get your paper done for your class. So we know that you're a very busy person and we're not going to hold you up any longer. So thank you, Sister Terry, once again, and thank each and every one of you for being on. As you can see, not every person who should be on from every church is on. So you're going to have a lot of questions for those who kind of understand what's going on.
Yes,
I have this recorded. So I am going to send the recording of this session and the executive session that we did on Thursday to your pastors. So please get with your pastor to get a copy of the video or see the video again so that you can understand how to do this. I would say before you call Terry, because chances are she's already answered your question on this training. So please just take the time and go through the training again.